Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is June 22nd. So, happy solstice. It was the equinox, the summer equinox. That was lovely. We have a new moon in Cancer, also lovely. So, a lot has been going on this weekend, and I'm not one to gloat. I'm truly not. But as I did say, it looked like that Tulsa rally was not going to quite be what it was that Trump and his campaign people, I'm sure, had hoped it was going to be. Instead, it was an abysmal failure. He had a venue that held 19,000. The official count came out yesterday. 6,200 people. My Lord, that is like a third. So I don't think it was exactly everything that Trump had hoped it would be. There was, and when you looked at the crowd, and they kept doing kind of that split screen thing every once in a while where you would see the Black Lives Matter protest outside, and then you would see what was going on inside. And I've never honestly seen a bunch of people less inspired than the ones that were sitting in that Bach Center. It was just not good. It didn't reflect well on Trump. And it certainly indicates that there are some significant problems going on with his campaign. And, let's face it, right? This is karma perfect, right? Because let's face it, he only needed to go out there. He wanted to go out there. They was pushing him out there because he was being a little quanky and he's in a bad mood. And they just had to give the baby a pacifier and sort of perk him up. Well, guess what? I don't think he's very perked right now. In fact, I don't think he's perked at all. So there's that. There's that. The Black Lives Matter protests continue. They're strong. They're continuing to move forward, and they are going to continue. Okay, so there's that. That's kind of good news in spite of Donald Trump's embarrassment. So you can expect the crazy on steroids this coming week. Okay, it's not going to get better. Not going to get better. So there's that. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. Now, before we wander there, I just want to make mention of the fact that on Tuesday, tomorrow, on my Soulprint Insights channel, I'm releasing a video that I did with Paul. Now, Paul, you will know his name because he is White Dragon in the comment section. So this was our first time trying to do this sort of a joint thing. So I will warn you, the first 30 seconds are a wee little bit wonky. Just hang in there, and the rest of the video is fine. I hope that you enjoyed it. What we're doing is a video on the top 10 crystals. And okay, there's like a top 100 crystals, but we started with the top 10 crystals that we thought you might want to consider having in your little crystal collection. If you have one, we talked about what they do, what their benefit is, etc. And just quickly, of course, if the video goes over well and a lot of people like it and enjoy it, then Paul and I will certainly look at doing a couple more subsequent videos on the topic of crystals, probably archangels, etc. So, just so you know, I finally managed to get a crystal video out. It was a long time coming, but I did it. Okay, Trump. How do we think Trump's going to be this week? I'm almost scared to ask. Truly, almost scared to ask. But let's just find out anyway, because, sometimes good to be a bit nosy. Come on down. I got a question. And I've got my smoky quartz here because, it's Trump. And so we pull that out. So how is Trump doing this week? He had such an embarrassment on Saturday. That's a humiliation that he experienced. You could tell when he walked out that he was really unhappy. And they had this big overflow area that in the early parts of his actual indoor rally, they were very, very busy taking down quickly because that was expected to hold the overflow of which there was no flow. Okay, none. That overflow got, I don't know, jammed up somewhere. So, and there's a lot of talk about TikTok. And so I'm going to hopefully see if I can get some information on TikTok. They are being credited. And it's an organization of young kids mostly. It's a dance channel, right? It's a young teenage channel, from what I understand. But a woman who used to work on Pete Buttigieg's campaign, I don't know how she decided to connect with that. I don't know if she knew somebody, whatever. But the point is that she sent out this message on TikTok saying that, you know what, people should buy tickets and just not show up. Well, apparently that's what they did. And that's how come the campaign was convinced that they were going to have such a fabulous turnout. So here we go. Trump this week, Trump this week, Trump this week. Sorry, God. Oh. Okay. So this is where we're sitting right now. Okay. The judgment that is sort of being rendered against him for the abysmal failure of the rally in Tulsa. This was supposed to be his re-election launch. It was supposed to be a big deal. He was completely disregarding public safety. He didn't care. He continued to praise himself and tell people who I guess were listening that he had done a fabulous job with the coronavirus. Everything was fine. The numbers were going down. And meanwhile, if I am not mistaken, you have 24 states that are currently expecting or experiencing an increase in the number of cases. He also very, very blatantly said that I told my people to stop testing, because come on, people, the more you test, the more you're going to get those negative results. And the people in the arena behind him are literally shaking their heads and applauding. And I'm thinking, like, is there no critical thinking left in the Trump base? Nobody actually listened to the words he said and what they meant? Apparently not. So, yeah, lots of, okay, so this is the thing, right? He's not going to take the blame for this. They tried to blame the Black Lives Matter protesters, but that didn't work so well because there was no video of there being a problem. So that didn't work very well. So heads are going to roll over this. I'm wondering if Brad Pascal may be one of those heads that rolls very quickly, and or he is sidelined because, let's face it, he was in this for the money. He has reaped, apparently he's done amazing financially by his association with Trump. But you know what happens when you displease the Trumpster? And you can bet your bottom dollar he is furious. I can't even imagine what that plane ride home must have been like. I am sure it was beyond volatile. So where the campaign sits right now is that they recognize they have a tremendous amount of work to do. They're assessing. They're going to try to spin this somehow. But the numbers are really, really discouraging. And again, here we are just on the third week of June, and I don't know that anybody anywhere can say, oh yeah, this was a good month for him. It was a horrible month for him. Now, you also have some strong arm tactics going on. You had Bill Barr announcing the resignation, I guess, of Bergman, who was with the Southern District of New York. And then he came out and said, no, in fact, I have not resigned. And then Barr returned with, I have asked the president to fire you, and he has done so. And then, of course, as soon as Trump was asked about that, he threw Barr under the bus by saying, hey, I don't know nothing about that. That's not my area. That's like William Barr. And what a fabulous attorney general he is. So you've got that going on. And again, this was something that did not land well. So what you have was information coming out that, again, triggered people emotionally. And we're not talking about his base being triggered here. We're talking about everyone else who just cannot almost absorb the amount of corruptions and dirty dealings. And certainly Barr is, again, up to his usual tricks. It's appalling. Okay, so what does this look like going forward? Okay, so hold on here. All right, so what we have is Trump's going to try to move forward from this. He's aware of the fact that he has now been embarrassed and humiliated in front of the world. There is more information coming out about stuff that went on behind the scenes. Now, whether that is about his family and Denise Mary's book, whether that is more stuff coming out about John Bolton's book, whether that is more leaks coming from the West Wing, but you can anticipate a lot more stuff coming out that frankly really doesn't serve him well. Yes, there's going to be the normal spin, and it was wonderful, and it was the protesters' fault. And I guess one of the lines he was using at the rally was, the silent majority is strong. No, the silent majority is absent. Just my take on it. And of course, so this is what you get, right? You get double-like behavior, right? So you're going to see an increase. Apparently, oh, speaking of which, apparently he spent 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of his rally doing this really bizarre monologue about why he had to walk slowly down the ramp and why he has trouble drinking water. I mercifully did not see that. But again, that's where he's at. So anticipate, again, more of that, right? You're going to see that really erratic behavior. Now, I actually have the feeling that he might actually be quiet for the next couple of days. I think he may even just let his campaign try to fix this, but behind the scenes, Tasmanian devil. Okay, that's the word that comes to mind here. You know that cartoon character? That's the behavior. Out of control, erratic. That's him. And the thing of it is that the more there is this impulse to charge forward, to really push his agenda and really push his base, what's going to happen is that is going to reap some benefits. Unfortunately for him, the benefits are going to come from those who oppose him. So the more erratic he becomes, the more there is growth and support around the fact that he really is completely out of control. And again, I say, I really feel that some of the people who ended up sacrificing the most as a result of this presidency, and I'm talking about the people who voted for him, They are going to start coming around, and come on, there's always going to be whatever it is, 30%, 25, 30% of people who just love him. They're conspiracy theorists. They don't listen. They have no critical thinking left. I am sorry. I don't mean to be insulting. But the rest of the people who were Republicans or independents, perhaps even Democrats, who were like, not loving Hillary, I'm going to give this guy a chance. All of those people gone. Okay, really gone. And I think what you're also going to see is people saying they're still for him when they're not. And I'm saying that simply based, well, on the energy I'm reading, and the energy I'm reading is a reflection of that crowd response to him yesterday. They were a very it was like sober and inattentive, right? You had a lot of very blank faces. You had a lot of crossed arms. So just it wasn't working for him. And the fact that he goes into this rally and he jokes about the fact that 120 plus thousand Americans are dead because he is incompetent. And he said that was a joke, that he didn't mean that he told them to really knock back testing. Of course he did. That's not going to play well. It's like he's another one totally lacking in critical thinking. Oh my Lord. So yeah, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry. He's going to be sleeping less than normal, which probably means we should probably anticipate a few tweet storms this week. He's going to be lashing out, and they are ramping up the narrative about China and the man-made coronavirus. And now Peter Navarro is saying that by allowing international flights to leave China, that China has weaponized airplanes the same way they were weaponized on 9/11. Are you flipping kidding me? So it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. They're going to put themselves in a position where they actually can't find a way forward, and they can't become unbound to the insanity of the stories that they have been trying to spin. So you can anticipate this to be a bit of a frantic week, a week where you almost can't comprehend some of the stuff that's coming out of people's mouths. Because come on, we know this. This is Trump's trick. He's going to distract now. So he's going to say something really outrageous because he wants to get the attention really fast off of the Tulsa disaster. And so just anticipate that kind of craziness that happens with him when things aren't going his way, which of course they haven't been, well, okay, for 3.5 years, but mostly for sure since, February, March, right? He's going to try his level best to distract. And frankly, he knows that the more outrageous thing that he says or does that causes the media to flip their attention, and then, kind of the continuing critiques about what a disaster Tulsa was, stop. And so that's exactly the game plan for today. And, again, I think I'm going to stop saying that Trump is a one-trick pony. I think I'm actually just going to start calling him one-trick Trump. The same old rhetoric from 4 years ago, that's what he's talking about. He's still trying to fire up that base. He has nothing new to say. And because of the disaster that the country is in, he has nothing positive to actually pull out as proof of anything he has done, aside from these stupid, inane lies that come out of his mouth about all the great things he has done and accomplished. Okay, so okay, this is the thing. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this up for a second. So this is the thing. You have the Tower moment here. He gets the Tower moment now pretty much every single reading, okay? He's got Judgment here and he's got the Devil here. Some of you are getting like frustrated because this isn't happening fast enough, or it appears as if your country is sort of becoming scattered. And this is the thing, it's not, okay? It's really, really not. This is Trump's Tower moment, except it's not a moment. It's like a slow moving train. Maybe it just keeps going down those tracks on and on and on, and it just leaves like scorched earth kind of behind it. But what is happening is that America are starting to do some really serious soul searching about what they want their country to look like. This is the time of change, and so many have worked so tirelessly to sort of bring about the change that, puts a new president into the White House. So America is finally doing the soul searching, frankly, honestly, that it should have been doing for decades, about exactly what they want to be represented as and by. And these assessments are really going to bear fruit. Okay, there is going to be prosperity and good luck that comes from it, but not for the Tower person, for America. So don't lose hope, right? Don't become discouraged, okay? It's not necessary. So now I pulled out these two cards. So, of course, as you know, the Ace of Swords card is my card for Joe Biden. And so, again, there's going to be information coming out. There's going to be stuff he says or does that gets released. I have not yet heard if he has issued a blistering takedown of Trump as a result of endangering all of those people's lives by holding that rally. Although, at least he didn't endanger 100,000 or the million that he was bragging about, because, of course, only 6,200 managed to be interested enough to go. So you're going to see something come out of, again, the Biden camp. Now, I did and have said for a really long time that Joe Biden would be picking a female vice president who I really felt was black or brown, mostly probably black. And Amy Klobuchar last week did make a statement that she was pulling, sort of removing herself from consideration for VP because she really felt that it was the time for a black vice president. And so far, the prediction I made in February of 2019, when I started this channel, appears to be continuing. And again, at that time, I talked about Trump experiencing, death by 1,000 cuts. And that is exactly what we are witnessing. And make no mistake, when he leaves, he's not only going to be leaving in disappointment, but when he turns around, there is more emotional distress coming his way. Lawsuits, court cases, arrests, I don't know, but he's going to be disappointed with the results of not only the election, but honestly, the campaign to the election. And he's so worried trying to avoid what's coming up behind him to bite him in the butt. He's only focused on what he's lost. And when he does turn around to walk away, that is where you're going to see things really starting, frankly, to pick up and move against him. Okay. I also just want to say that I actually think that part of what's going on with the uptick in blaming China for the coronavirus and it's man-made. Now they're calling it chemical warfare. I mean, it is ridiculous. I actually think that is a strategic move, as strategic as foolish can be, to try to pressure China into helping Trump get reelected, because of course that is one of the things that he is looking for. And I have to say that I don't think that China is going to be pressured by the likes of Trump, okay? So China gets stronger and stronger. Trump keeps trying to do this whole quid pro quo, you do this, I'll do that, get me elected, I'm running around the world begging people to do that for me. China's going to be standing strong and Trump not so much. In fact, all of the foreign actors are going to be standing much stronger than the puppet Trump. Later on this week, I am going to be doing a reading, just as an aside, on foreign actors. So I'm going to do a reading that takes a look at China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. In terms of what is going on behind the scenes when it comes to re-election of Trump. Let's see where that takes us. He's still trying to negotiate deals. He's still trying to do it behind the scenes, and he just continues to fail to recognize and understand that he's still going to be disappointed in the results. Yeah. So just sort of as a general look at what is going on, as Trump moves closer and closer towards defeat, you're going to see this continual barrage of propaganda. Some of it literally coming from Trump's campaign, where now Facebook and Twitter are now, and probably Instagram for all I know, are really starting to clamp down on some of the really hateful rhetoric and language that is being pumped out by that campaign. But expect more of it, okay? And expect more of this complete disregard for the law. And in some ways you almost want to say, you know what, let them continue to disregard the law, because honestly, that can be corrected after the fact. Okay? Let them sort of keep digging in this hole. All right, and so what we are looking for, what we are moving towards, what the energies that are being built up, and everything is sort of moving now, even though sometimes it feels like it's moving really slowly, but I promise you it's not moving anywhere near as slowly as sometimes it feels, because of course we're all a little tired, we're fatigued from this thing. But this is what's going to happen. This is going to be, actually, I need to put them this way. This is what you're going to see in the months ahead as Democrats, Independents, and Republicans really, really start to push a resistance against Trump. And understand, this is really the beginning of the resistance. And this thing is going to continue to gain momentum and speed as we move through the summer and into the early fall. But as long as there is this focus on Trump wanting to get reelected, and more information comes out about how really just incredibly self-centered, self-focused, and self-directed all of his actions are, what you're going to see is more and more people coming into balance, working towards creating an environment and a situation going forward that is balanced, that is respectful, that is inclusive and mindful. And America, your victory comes. Your victory comes. It does not come if you do not continue to do what needs to be done, to walk the walk and talk the talk, to get as many people out there voting as possible. Because again, this guy needs to come down in a landslide. He can't come down in a close right? Because that's just going to cause a bunch of problems, right? Now, let us all, frankly, I got to say it one more time. Let us all, frankly, take comfort from the fact that for a state that he won by 32 points in 2016, yeah, he managed to get 6,200 people out there who were really desperate to see him. Okay. All right, once again, quick reminder, tomorrow is going to be the crystals video on Soulprint Insights. Later on this week, you're going to be seeing that video about, the foreign actors. And thank you again so much for the likes and the thumbs up and the comments, the shares, and the donations are so heartwarming and amazing. So I thank you very, very much for those donations. They are received with such gratitude. And of course, if you're looking for a private reading, in the box below, there's some information to tell you how to get that information. So until next time, take care and be well.